Good morning, and hey now, PASW staff, clients, and friends joining us. Welcome to Friday's class. Thank God it's Friday. We made it to through a great week of a lot of interesting subjects. Today is Friday, as we know, is what film scoring results, right? For all the work you've done, and I'm so proud of what you guys have sent in. We have some new people coming in, and that's really exciting. So today we're going to look at the results for Spielberg's classic E.T., the 1982 American science fiction fantasy adventure film that, as we looked at, that Spielberg kind of created as a kid while his parents were getting divorced, this little imaginary character, E.T. So it's a very personal film for Spielberg, and one that made a ton of money and that's very commercial and also personal. So we're going to look at what you guys came up with. So without further ado, let's dive into Matthew Payne's score. So great job, Matthew. That's from the iMovie library. Matthew sends these in with the video, so he's doing the edits and the scoring together. So very proud of you, Matthew. I just kind of replaced the video, so it's a little bit clearer image for us, but it works great. I like that you have kind of the serious music, and then as soon as they start flying, it goes into this kind of more dreamy strings with a beat, though. It's very adventure-like, very fantasy almost in a way, with those nice strings, sustained strings, with also that beat. It works well with them smiling. So I think that's great. Great job, Matthew. Okay, let's go into Mark Pulvers. That's Mark Pulver's score, The Age of Aquarius, by the famous group The Fifth Dimension. I love how that works. That is great. So that was written for the musical Hair in 1967, and it's kind of like a psychedelic kind of soul music that fits really well with these guys riding their bikes. Sunshine pop music. Which is it's kind of happy, but that psychedelic feeling of you're flying. I mean, they're on this bike. It's kind of it's not a realistic scene, obviously. So I like, Mark, that you're going with this kind of fantasy approach where it's a pop song, but it's kind of a psychedelic pop song, and so you're kind of elevated above reality, literally and musically. So great choice. Love that. Thank you. Okay, let's go into Lanzarote Records. we all know that theme, right? That's the Star Wars theme from George Lucas's 1977 epic film Star Wars. So, and I think we know that that's the same composer, right? John Williams, who scored E.T. a few years after that, but a few years before he scored Star Wars. We can hear the similarities in the strong melody with the brass section mostly. Usually if we look at other films that we will look of his, usually the brass is very important in his driving melodies, particularly with Jurassic Park, which we'll look at another day. But E.T. focuses on the strings as the primary melodic instrument, but he uses the orchestra, and we talked about that. We talked about how John Williams, in the 60s, there were rock songs, and then in the 70s, he kind of brought the orchestra back into blockbuster films. So with Star Wars, we have the brass, but we get a strong melody that sounds like a theme song. It is a theme song, but it sounds like a pop orchestral theme song. So Lansra, that's great. You probably consciously or unconsciously you picked up that, hey, this sounds like this movie, and it's the same composer. So it shows that you're listening very intently, and that's wonderful. Okay, let's go to Sarah Wrights. So much different tone right now, right? Sarah chose the Symphony Number 6 in A minor by the great composer Mahler, and that was in 1904. So now we're kind of in this march-like feel, still using the same orchestra, the full orchestra that John Williams used, but it doesn't sound like John Williams, does it? It's got a darker tone. So now these kids could be riding these bikes headed toward an unknown adventure instead of a fantasy like. Could be still fantasy, but now, at least to me, there's a darker fantasy perhaps in there. So I love that, Sarah. Love Mahler. You always choose great classical music that makes me think, hey, wait, we got to talk about this composer next. So that's wonderful. Okay, let's move on to our Christy Chu. That's I've Had the Time of My Life. That's 1987, and the theme song to Dirty Dancing, the iconic film. That sounds great. I think it's probably used as a love song, but with this, it seems to me that it's an adventurous song that is not really about love. It's about I'm having the time of my life on this bicycle flying, and we all have that kind of. Or we all have at some point probably that fantasy and dream of just taking off. And so this is like a fantasy, like I've had the time of my life right now. It's beautiful, Christy. Great job. Great choice. I love it. It puts you in a good mood, that song, for sure. And the scene puts you in a good mood. So excellent work. Okay, let's go on to Your Friend, My Friend, the Boss, John Pazes. That's Born to Be Wild by the group Steppenwolf. People have said that that's one of the first heavy metal songs. So that's 1969, and that's from Easy Rider, Dennis Hopper's film. So now we're in a real energetic kind of rock drive, and so John had me kind of edit the lyrics out again. So it's like, so we just have the instrumental of that kind of driving hard rock sound with the guitars and the drums. It works great. It looks like we're on an adventure now. Again, only all of these are different types of adventures. If you're noticing, some are fantasy, some are dreamlike, some are psychedelic, some are intense. This one's also intense, but this is having a rock score, hard rock score that's real driving. I love that. John, thank you for playing with us, and I love your input. All of your guys's. I mean, it's all different. It's so different. Okay, before I start sweating even more, let's go into my song. That's from the movie The Thing, 1982, which is the same year that E.T. came out. So they're both very different films, very different soundtracks. Yes, I am a prankster, but I also want to see if I can flip the scene for you guys to show you if we can get a different kind of movie. With this is obviously a scary score. So Ennio Morricone is the guy that we looked at a few weeks ago, had the beautiful romantic scores of Cinema Paradiso and The Mission, but now that sounds nothing like this. This is a horror soundtrack. This is synthesizers and a little bit that thumping. It's terrifying. So it looks like these kids are going on. It looks like kind of a horror film all of a sudden. So I took Spielberg's kind of fantasy-like thing and made it look like, like it could be from the movie It, or something kind of frightening. It's just a different way of looking at the movie to see if we can take something and make it different. So it's just, these are fun experiments. It's good problem solving and learning for us to do. So thank you all for participating. The Fridays are always some of my favorite classes to see your guys' work, and it's just fun to collaborate in these times virtually. So thank you for that. Have a great weekend. Have a lot of fun stuff coming up for you next week. So, okay. Take care. Bye.